Am I the a-hole for adopting a cat that has a penis on his face and naming him Richard? 4 months ago, my fiancé and I were looking to adopt a cat. We found a middle-aged cat that was sitting in a shelter for a long while for a very obvious reason. The black and white pattern of the coat created a painfully obvious penis shape right in the middle of the cat's face. That has a penis on his face and naming him Richard? Not gonna lie, I found this pretty funny, and so did my fiancé. So we went out to meet the cat. He was super sweet, so we took him home, but the shelter said they didn't know his name and that we can give him our own. Seeing how the thought of this cat having a penis face would be the first thing to anyone's mind the moment they saw him, we thought it would be a funny little icebreaker to name him Richard. My own father, whose name is Richard, found this pretty funny and harmless, as did many other guests, until my sister-in-law visited. She said it was completely inappropriate and a disservice to the cat and the cat's feelings, since I made fun of him with this name, unbeknownst to the cat himself, and that it can be categorized as unphysical animal abuse. I told her the cat doesn't even speak English, so his feelings aren't hurt at all, so I don't see the problem here. She then got mad at my fiancé because he's enabling me to abuse an animal who can't control what coat pattern it has, so now she has ghosted us. Am I the a-hole for naming my cat Richard because he has a penis on his face? Now for some comments. Not a hole. Holy shit, cat tax. Cat tax. Cat tax. Cat tax, show me your dick-faced pussy. Hahaha. Here. Hey, looks more like a flared end butt plug to me. You're totally not a hole. 100% more butt plug than penis, but what common name has the nickname butt plug? Not a hole. I'm laughing so hard right now. This is great. I'm glad your Sil ghosted you, because she is out of her mind if she really believes any of the sewage leaking from her mouth. Cat tax, please. We all want to see the infamous dick. They added it as a reply to the top comment, if you haven't seen Richard yet. Warning, he's a handsome boy. Tie for the warning, that was a close call. I have a whole thing about black and white cats. It's a common pattern out here where the ears and eyes are black and the nose is white. I call them dick faces for exactly the same reason, and it will never stop being hilarious. Not a hole. Unphysical animal abuse? What woke nonsense is your Sil a victim of? I am positive your pussy is okay with dick. Just imagine what kind of bullying this poor kitty will have to endure in cat school. Life is going to be hard for him. Not a hole. The cat had been sitting in the shelter because of the penis shape on his face. Not only did you adopt him, you celebrated it with his new name. You're not being mean to him, you're turning what was an unfortunate circumstance into laughter and love. But also the cat doesn't care. It's a cat lol. It's called body positivity, sis should get in the know. Now for the next story. Am I the a-hole for making my boyfriend's kids eat at the table? I've 26F been dating Henry, 33M, for about 2 years now. He has 2 kids from his previous marriage, Kevin, 8M, and Ella, 6F. He and his ex-wife Jess have 75/25 custody, so ever since Henry moved in with me a few months ago, the kids stay with us 25% of the time. Jess is a laid-back parent who lets her kids do whatever they want. Henry doesn't like confrontation, so he defers to Jess most of the time. There are many instances where I disagree with her parenting style, but I'm not their mother, and I know my place. The issue: Henry isn't the best cook, so in our home I do all the cooking, he cleans up. Whenever he has the kids, I make their meals. The way I was raised, you eat your meals at the table. I feel like it's the respectful thing to do when someone has prepared food for you. So I was a bit shocked when the first night I cooked for the kids, they took their plates without a word and went to watch TV on the sofa. I called them back and asked them to please sit at the table. They listened, and the rest of the time we had no problems. Then, the next time they came back from Jess's place, we had the same issue. When I told them to please sit down, they began to complain. Mom lets us have our iPads at dinner, Mom lets us eat in our rooms. I understood their confusion. Of course, being kids, it must be difficult to adjust to having 2 different homes. Of course, it must be confusing to have different dinner rules. I explained that, while they may be able to eat where they wanted their mothers, at our house I wanted to eat with them and see their beautiful faces enjoy the meal. After they went home, I got an angry phone call from Jess. She said that I was just Henry's girlfriend and that I had no right to tell her kids what to do. I told her that yes, I was just a girlfriend and yes, I shouldn't overstep. But while they are in my home, eating my food, I feel that I can have a say in how they eat it. Besides, it isn't as if I told her kids that my way was the right way or criticized her parenting to their faces. I told her it was unrealistic that I'd have zero role in childcare when they live with me and Henry 25% of the time. I cook their food, do their laundry, and drive them to places, so while I am not their mother, I am more than a stranger. She blew up at me and called me a bitch and has been harassing Henry non-stop about this. He pulled me aside yesterday asking me to please just give in to keep the peace. The kids hate my rule, Jess hates my rule, and he is afraid that they won't want to live with him anymore. I told him he can cook for them himself, but as long as they're eating my food I want to stand my ground. He told me he expected better from me and is upset. All four people in this conflict seem to think I'm an alright now, and I'm really lost. This is my first time dating someone with kids. I realize I may be out of my depth, so I'd appreciate some unbiased insight. AITA. Now for some comments. If your BF always capitulates to the mother, I would get out of this relationship now. Otherwise, expect this kind of behavior to continue throughout your relationship. Yay, there's been numerous times where it's irked me and the reason why they divorced in the first place. We're both in therapy and it's something he's actively working on, but I'm aware of how it's hurting our relationship. Not a hole. You already gave him a compromise. Instead of jumping at it and taking the deal, he talked down to you. Why? Because he can't be half-assed to cook for his children? Because it's easier to try to manipulate, guilt-trip you than for him to step up as the parent and take over responsibility for them? Because it's not about respecting your efforts, but about making things easy for him? Absolutely, if he is a truly terrible cook, maybe he can fork out for those HelloFresh boxes or a similar meal kit until he has 3 recipes he feels he can do. I know someone whose husband uses them as scaffolding when cooking for his kids because he isn't a confident cook. Otherwise, I can totally understand wanting some say in how things are done. Right now, OP has the labor and responsibility of a step-parent without rights to make even small decisions about the things she is responsible for. She is being treated as an unpaid nanny. Not a hole, you are allowed to have rules for your own home, such as everyone eats at the table. Henry moved in with you. If he doesn't want those rules for himself and the kids, he can move right out again. This little kids, and even some adults, eating on the couch is gross. If OP lives in a warm climate, this may attract critters too. Not a hole. Edit, just to clarify, as people seem confused in the comments. I talked to Henry the first night and we both agreed to the rule. I wouldn't make a major decision without his consent. He changed his mind after Jess threatened to sue for custody. Now for the next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my cousin that he doesn't deserve sympathy? My 19M little sister, Violet, passed away from stage 4 medulloblastoma on May 28, 2020 at the age of 9. My cousin, 20M, was extremely unsupportive through this time, but still whined for people to feel bad for him because of what was happening in our family. I was always very close with Violet, and her illness and death really broke me. I did everything I could for her and often found myself being way too hard on myself over the things I couldn't control. A few days ago, my cousin was attending my girlfriend and I's gender reveal party for the baby we're expecting. One of the guests brought me a condolence card for Violet since she didn't get to visit my family due to COVID. My cousin started whining and complaining about how he never got any "I'm sorry" for losses when Violet passed away. I snapped at him and said that I was the one who had to watch her have seizures almost every day for weeks and not know how to help her. I was the one who had to hold her while she was screaming and crying and begging me to do something to make it stop hurting. I was the one who had to stand outside the hospital room she was screaming for me from and not be allowed to go in. I was the one who laid with her when her head hurt too bad for her to fall asleep. I was the one who held her hand while she screamed because she was scared of the IV. I was the one who held her hair back when she was throwing up. I was the one who carried her everywhere when she was too weak to stand. I was the one who had to shave her hair off when she was so distraught from it falling out. I was the one who held her when she took her last breath. He was the one who called me dramatic and told her it's just hair. He got mad at me and said that she's his family too, and he can feel upset about her passing away, too. I told him he can feel bad, but he doesn't deserve anyone's sympathy. My aunt told me that he's grieving just like I am, and that I'm being harsh and need to try to be patient with him. Did I overreact? Was I rude? Now for some comments. Not a-hole, I'm sorry for your loss. Your cousin's a self-centered dick. Not a-hole, he's a grief troll. They exist. He deserves much worse than what you said. Not a-hole, your cousin sounds awful and self-involved. Your aunt should be ashamed of him, not making excuses and trying to equate your loss like it is somehow equal because it isn't. My condolences on your loss, you sound like an amazing brother. The thing I'm questioning is, he didn't help. But did he make fun of her? The hair thing is a dick move. But TBH, when my grandma died she had been sick for a while and I visited as well, but I didn't help her like my sister did. I was still sad about her passing though. I felt guilty for not being involved enough. His crying about not getting attention is bad. But he is still allowed to be sad about Violet's passing whether he was directly involved or not. Not a-hole for snapping. It's also a part of your grieving process, and clearly you were closer and more a part of what happened. Sorry you had to go through this, and sorry your cousin can't show sympathy about it. Seems like your cousin need to be at the center of attention constantly. Side note, why are people so obsessed with gender reveal parties? The only thing you learn is the baby's genitals, not anything about who they could be. I'm not trying to offend you in any way, but if this is the post to really discuss the trend of gender reveal parties on. It was a very small part of the post, and they have had a really rough year from the sound of it, and as the person above said, it's about more than just the gender. Not saying that your stance on it is right or wrong, just that this might not be the post to speak on it. Now for the next story. Am I the a-hole for not giving screaming kid the last food item at the supermarket? There are these special slices of cake I like to get at the bakery section at my local store. I recently had surgery, so I try to stock up on my items so I don't have to make multiple trips to the store. Driving is hard for me right now, especially BC. I frequently have to take pain meds, and I can't drive when on those things, otherwise I wouldn't be as much as a food hoarder. Anyway, there were 3 slices left, and I grabbed them all, then I head to the checkout line. A mother came up behind me with her crying, screaming kid. I'm guessing he was 4, 5. They weren't there when I grabbed the cake slices. They must have went to the bakery section after me, and there were none left. Then inputting the items up on the register, kid sees the cakes, shrieks, cries, there they are. Make her give them to me. The mother said no, that belongs to the lady. Then the kid starts to scream like a banshee, melts down to the floor. I try to ignore them and not make eye contact. I pay for my food and grab my bags. The mother shouts to me, really? Would it have killed you to give 1 slice to my kid? I'm a single mother. I don't think kids should learn that throwing a tantrum gets them their way. In my opinion, it would have been a good teaching moment to teach the child he can't always have what he wants. Am I the a-hole? Now for some comments. Not a-hole. The mother's first reaction was the correct one. They belong to you. Not sure why she felt like she had to shout after you. I think she was hoping I'd volunteer to give one to her kid. Not a-hole, enjoy the cake. You didn't get all 3 out of spite. You got all 3 because you want to enjoy cake and people can buy however they like. It's not like 3 is an exorbitant amount and you didn't know someone else wanted them after you got them. Don't think about it, BC. The child needs to learn that the world doesn't revolve around what you want. This 3 is not hoarding. 3 is less than the average family needs. Not a-hole. For all she knows, you're a single mother And they were for your kids. This is such a good point. For all the mom knew, Op was bringing home a slice to each of Op's 3 kids. People are so entitled sometimes. Edit: to add Op is not a hole.